Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're all well. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're all well. It's been a little while since I put a video out, so I thought I'd better put one out, and I'm starting something new. On the first of every month now, I'm doing instead of sending a newsletter out, I'm doing a YouTube update. It's just something I'm going to start doing every month now. I've got a new website being built, and one of the things that we're doing is we're having a newsletter feature on that, and I thought, well, I'd quite like to do a YouTube version of that as well. So today is a little bit of an update, and as you can probably tell by the title, has a bit unfortunate as well. So where are we? Yesterday I'd had a really productive day. It was like 10:30 at night, and I didn't really want to go for a run, but I had to, because obviously you can still do your one form of exercise a day. My training's was going really well. I'm training for the Florida Ironman on the 8th of November in Panama City. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm doing the Ironman distance as well, so it's not the half. And so I had to go out last night and go for a run. And it was only a really quick one, like not even half an hour. It was like a high intensity run. And I'm literally half a mile from home, and I slip, my left ankle rolls from underneath me on some wet, underneath trees like leaves and grimy dirt. My left ankle rolled and slipped over, sort of slipped out from underneath me. Of course, all my body weight went on it, and I just hit the deck hard. And instantly, it was really painful. I knew something wasn't right. I kind of looked at it, and luckily it was all, there was no open fracture or anything like that. But I was in a hell of a lot of pain. But I didn't have my phone on me, so I then had to limp back. I was able to stand up initially and put a tiny bit of weight on it. But I was then going lightheaded every time I was sort of trying to move, so that's never a good sign. But I managed to kind of limp back to the flat to get a phone, and I ended up going to the hospital. And I've broke my fifth metatarsal. So luckily, thank goodness, I've only broken a very small bone in the foot. Because if I had broken my ankle, that's a different story altogether. So it might sound a bit crazy, but I'm actually quite grateful that I've only broken a bone in my foot as opposed to the ankle. So that happened last night, which was like, oh man, I didn't expect. And then I felt really guilty having to go to the hospital for obvious reasons. But to my amazement and surprise, the hospital was absolutely dead. There was no one there. The accident emergency, and it was quite good the way they had the hospital set up. They had hot and cold. Cold is for anyone non-COVID related, and hot is for anything COVID related. And they don't muddle up the two. So they wouldn't actually let me come in before they did a few tests and bits and bobs on me, which was quite impressive. And I got into the A&E, and there was no one there. There was doctors and that just sitting around. And to be honest, they were really pleased to see someone, I think. So they were amazing. I felt really guilty about going up there, actually. And they were like, no, come on up here. The problem that they were saying is that people aren't going to hospital, they're suffering at home. So a massive thank you to the doctors last night up at Basingstoke Hospital who helped me out. So basically I have to wear this massive boot thing here. It should really be up right now. I will get back to putting it up in a minute. So that kind of happened last night. So that's going to sort of scupper my training for a bit, for probably about 3 weeks. I have to be non-weight bearing, so I have to use the crutches and get around. But in the grand scheme of things, it's no biggie. But it's definitely going to... I was just getting to the point where I was making some progress with my training. But it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It could have been a lot worse. It's just a freak thing. It's a very, very common injury, apparently. with footballers, rugby players who roll the ankle and the fifth metatarsal just breaks, basically. The ligament can snap the bone. It's quite interesting. I've been reading about it. So that happened last night, which was a bit of a pain. But it's difficult because I live on my own in a tiny little studio flat, so it just takes a little bit longer to do stuff. But in terms of what I have been up to and kind of what I'm doing moving forward, things are actually going really, really well. I'm over halfway through the book now, and that is the book of the flying around the world, and actually quite a lot of other stuff that happened before that. I'm well over 50,000 words into it, so that's really positive. And I've set myself the goal that by the end of May, I want to have the first draft, if not finished, very close to being completed. So that's kind of my goal. If I can come out of this sort of lockdown thing, not that I'm going to be going anywhere and doing that much now, having written a book, I think that's a pretty good use of my time, and I'm really quite happy with that. I'm thinking of a working title called Chasing Extremes. I think I might have mentioned this before, but let me know what you think. Because it's about multiple things. It's about being rescued. It's about working on some projects that didn't go my way, stuff that didn't work out, and then the success of successfully flying around the world and that whole story. So I'm thinking James Ketchell, Chasing Extremes. But let me know in the comments what you think. Could be called anything. I like It's All Mental myself, but probably can't really have that. I'm also been using this downtime. I'm having a new website built because mine's massively outdated now. So I'm having a new website built, so that's pretty good. I'm also working on a new speaking brochure because my job is to speak at events. And as you can imagine, there are no events. It's everything physical, as in groups of people getting together, has been cancelled. And whilst we may see some restrictions lifted in the next few weeks, it's going to be quite a long time before groups of people get back together again. So I have picked up some work online, which is actually, I personally am not a fan of it. I personally prefer being with people, but I'll do what I've got to do. You adapt. But I did have a call with a speaking agent the other day, and she said, initially when all this happened, this is really only relevant for anyone who perhaps is either interested or is a speaker. Initially, a lot of companies just said, wow, this will sort itself out. We'll push our event back or we'll cancel it for the time being. But now companies are starting to realise that actually it's going to be quite a long time, probably the end of this year at the very least, before groups of people are getting back together again. And therefore, they are realising that they need to continue running these style of events where they bring speakers in and it just has to go online. So I picked up some work for next month. So I'm really quite happy about that because I lost every job that was booked, but so did a lot of other people. So that's kind of pretty good. That's what I've been working on, trying to be pretty proactive on that front. I've also been using my time just doing some research on different companies and marketing directors. You have to be proactive. The only reason I've ever managed to get all the funding and sponsorship that I have for the expeditions that I've managed to do is because I was proactive. I proactively identified the right people and made contact with them and emailed and called them until they either said piss off or they were interested in what I was asking them. So I've used this downtime to start collecting data, and I'm building up my database again. So when the time is right, the time's not right now, but I will get mega proactive again with that. I have put my 2022 project just on hold for a little bit because it's not the right time to be approaching companies for sponsorship right now. But that is still very much there in the background. I do have, when we're allowed to get back flying again, I do have some more flying adventures planned. Obviously not quite as big as flying around the world, but I've got some cool little trips and things lined up. Because I actually really miss getting out and making vlogs, and I really miss flying. So we've got some cool stuff planned there. So that's coming up. Also as well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's purchased a copy of my book. I've had quite a few people asking about it. So that's cool. I really appreciate your support. And yeah, I've been signing them and sort of sending them out. So that's been going really well. And basically my goal for the next 30 days, I mean, it's the 1st of May. And actually today, the 1st of May last year, I flew into Moscow. That was a crazy day. And now I'm sat here looking out my window with a broken foot. I'd rather be there doing that. That was crazy. So my goal, I'm going to tell you what my goal is for the next month. And then you can kind of hold me to account for that next month when I do the next update. And that is, I just need to get the manuscript as close to finished as I can. And so there's different ways to write a book. Some people are interviewed over a few days or a few weeks, depending on how much you got to say. And then a ghostwriter will write that book for you. And then in 6 months' time, they say, there's your book. But I'm actually writing it and I'm working with an editor. So when you do read the next book, it will be my words. 95% of them. The idea of an editor is that they just sort of tidy it up a little bit and thin things down or tell you to go into more detail. That's how I wrote my last book, and my editor's really good. So that is all good. And if you've got any questions, guys, just let me know. But it's a little bit of a kind of an update now that I'm going to do on the 1st of every month. So yeah, I hope you're all well. Hope you're all happy. Hope you're all managing to use the time relatively wisely, but as long as you're happy, that's really all that matters. If you have any questions for me, if I can do anything for anyone, let me know. And that is pretty much it, guys. I would like to say thank you for all the support. I did do a couple of online talks for Scouts the other day, which went really well. I enjoy doing them, so big shout out to all the Scout leaders at the moment who are giving up a lot of their time and often doing it from their front rooms and gardens. They're still leading and inspiring lots of young people around the country. So massive well done to all the Scout leaders at the moment. And guys, I will see you very soon. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be. I was going to do a video, I think I will do a video on my expedition history, because I forget myself all the different things I've managed to sort of somehow do over the last 10 years. You don't realise it until you sit there, you start writing, you're like, yeah, I remember doing that. I did that, I did that. I don't remember when I did that. So I'm going to outline a whole expedition history, try and pick some photos up and stuff like that, try and put something together. But that is it, guys. Just a quick rambling update. Yeah, that's 13 minutes. That's well long enough. So I hope you're all well. And that is it. And I will see you very, very soon. Thank you for the support. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, or whatever you want. Catch you later.